Good morning. How are you doing, Elizabeth?
I'm great. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to talking with you because you are in such the right place at the right time with all the things that are taking place around the world. Oh my God, Elizabeth.
Yeah, it's quite a news cycle, isn't it? I could not have. We did not expect to be launching in the middle of literally history being made in the United States.
Yeah, because there's so much going on. Do you feel like that you have to be the storyteller now? It's like I have to explain to them that this event took place, but don't assume, let me share something that I've learned.
It is. Listen, I think right now what's important, is explaining what happened, why it's significant, and what are the different options for what may happen next. And we do that by providing nuance and context to these fast developing events and talking to not only newsmakers, but to really smart analysts who can provide that. I think that right now, a lot of the cable news landscape is populated by a lot of people shouting or pushing highly partisan political talking points. And that is not what we plan to do. This is not an opinion show. If guests come on to express an opinion, I will ask them to challenge, to explain them and defend them and play devil's advocate so that we will have a more thoughtful, hopefully, conversation about what's going on that day.
Well, see, we need this. We need a well-focused show because you're absolutely right. I am all over the web, all over the TV, searching for my own opinion because everybody else is sharing their opinion, and I'm wasting time that I can't ever get back again.
Right. No, that's exactly what's happening. And I think that what you just said, we hear all the time. I have never in my career done a partisan or opinion show. And that's, from the very start, when I was talking to the executives at NewsNation, I told them that's not what I'm interested in doing. So this is the newscast of record for the network from 6 to 7 Eastern. And it's a full hour. And we go very deep on a handful of the biggest stories of the day.
I'm glad it's an hour because in my heart, that tells me that you're going to give us the opportunity to breathe. You're going to give us space to really listen to what's going on.
Right. And to really listen as people explain why is this significant? What does that mean? What might happen next? How did this happen? There's on a variety of issues. And obviously, former President Trump's indictment and arrest has really dominated the news cycle. But for example, there's a big murder trial starting this week in Idaho, the Lori Vallow case. And last night we did a very deep dive on cults because in this case, the defendant is accused of killing her children and because she's a member of a cult. How do people get caught up into cults? How does this happen? And by the way, a lot of really smart, well-educated people find themselves vulnerable to cults, unlike what many people believe. So that's, we were able to do a really sort of big, thoughtful piece on cults and how they start and why people get caught up in them last night.
My own church here in Charlotte, they're constantly blamed or accused of being a cult. And I have to sit there and take note. Oh my God, yes. Elevation Church. Wow. They're constantly after us. And it's like, we're not a cult. I swear to God, we're not a cult.
Yeah, well, you're not out killing your kids either.
No.
That's a little bit of a different thing.
So how do you react as a journalist with all of this clickbait stuff? I mean, we are so convinced that if we see something, we have to believe it. And I'm always afraid that it's going to affect the journalism world.
Oh, it affects everything. I really believe strongly that all schools in this country should be now teaching a class called information literacy. If I had $1 for every time I told my kids just because it's on the internet doesn't make it true.
Right.
I could put them through college already. It's a real thing. And we've seen it, people believe conspiracy theories. They believe wild tales just because somebody typed it out on their laptop or desktop at home and posted it online. And it's really, really important that we quadruple fact check everything. And, honestly, that's where my experience as a journalist. I went to the best school of journalism in the country, which is the University of Missouri. And, I have training. The people I'm working with have training. We all work with producers and lawyers who fact check everything. It's just, unfortunately, when you're online and many of these sites, it's just one person stating what might be their opinion or misconstruing facts to fit a certain narrative. It can be very tough, and you have to really go, you have to go into that fully aware of the fact that not everybody goes through that rigorous fact-checking process. Accountants
today are afraid of the future because people aren't going in that direction to properly learn how to do it. As a journalist, do you feel the same way? Because, I mean, look at the students that are at these schools of broadcasting and university. Are they doing it right, and how can we put focus on their journey?
I don't know. There are lots of schools of journalism out there, that teach different curriculum. I can only tell you what I learned and what I think is important. And it wasn't just the, how to write. It was also the ethics of journalism. It was, the law surrounding what we have the right to do. And, I almost went to law school. I don't think a journalism degree is necessary to be a great journalist. But you are going to learn in your career plenty about ethics and law. And, when I worked at ABC, every single, for example, when I hosted 2020 for 15 years, and every single one of the shows that we would screen in the edit room, in this big edit room with all the producers and everybody assembled, also there for those screenings were ABC lawyers and ABC standards people who, would stop and say, you can't say that, or how do you back that up? And they had read the transcripts of every interview I'd ever done on that hour and said, I think you're taking that out of context. I recall that, and we'd pour over the transcript and make sure it was fair and accurate. Unfortunately, that's not done in some places. And we see a big lawsuit right now between, Dominion and Fox News where that clearly wasn't done. And that's bad for all of us in the media because everybody thinks we're all that sloppy or we're all that, gosh, in that case, if those text messages and emails are true, it goes beyond sloppiness. It's, well, we'll see what a court decides. But anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations on Elizabeth Vargas Reports on NewsNation. I'm so glad that, like I said before, this is a well-focused show and we will learn from you.
Well-focused and aimed toward the 80% of the people who are in the middle, center right, center left, not political partisan talking points. We really want to be thoughtful, provide context and nuance.
I love it. Be brilliant today.
Thank you. Thank you.